Hi, I'm Kate, and I could really use some advice. Let me start at the beginning. Don't forget to press like and subscribe to the channel. Many people have a toxic person in their life that wants to outdo them in everything. For me, it was my classmate Amber, and it all began back in elementary school. We came to school wearing the same outfit on the first day of class.
Wow, it's like we're twins. I'm Kate. Let's be friends. This dress obviously looks better on me. What? No, it doesn't.
As we got older, our rivalry intensified.
Hey, Amber, the fashion police should arrest you.
Look at the purse my parents bought me. I won that round, like I usually did, but one day I hit a rough patch. My parents and I were walking back to our car from a store when an awesome car drove into the parking lot. Amber was the one behind the wheel. Look at my birthday present. You won't be able to beat this. And she was right. I pretended not to care, even though I was actually terribly jealous. I begged my parents to buy me a car and let me get a driver's license as we drove home. That's not up for discussion. You quickly give up hobbies. Last month, you asked us for an expensive camera and then didn't even pick it up once. It makes no sense to spend money on a car only for you to get bored of it the next week. Convincing my parents wasn't easy, but I didn't despair because I was their only child and they spoiled me. As we were driving past a park, I saw a stunning guy. He was sitting under a tree and looking sadly at his laptop. He was giving off such a mysterious vibe. I wondered who he was. At home, I kept pestering Mom and Dad, and I even pretended I was gonna burst out crying. Please! And I almost managed to convince them. Why almost? Because at that moment, our doorbell rang. Mom's sister, my Aunt Greta, and her son, Dan, had come over. It turned out that they had some problems and now had nowhere to live. My parents let them stay with us, so I had to share my room with my cousin. It sucked, but that wasn't even the worst part yet. By the way, Kate, the car will have to wait. Your Aunt Greta needs that money more, and we have no more savings. My eye almost started twitching. It wasn't fair. That was how my fun life with my new roommate began. Ugh, your room is so girly. Maybe it's because I am a girl. Genius. He was terribly messy and spent the whole night playing video games. I didn't even get a wink of sleep. I need help at fifth base. Ugh. I didn't get enough sleep and I overslept because of him. But then, something great happened at school. My friend Eileen looked weirdly enthusiastic. Kate, have you heard the news yet?
About Princess Amber's new car?
No, about the new guy. His name is Paul, and he is super cute. There he is. His face seems familiar. I've seen him before, but I don't remember where. Hey, that was the guy I'd seen in the park. So that gloomy, handsome guy was gonna study with us now? Wow, I really liked Paul, so I decided I wouldn't wait for him to notice me, and I approached him myself. Hi, Paul, right? I'm Kate. Do you want me to give you a tour of the school? Hi. Hold your horses, Kate. I'll show the new kid around. I know the best places for makeout sessions and copying answers to the upcoming tests. Amber had decided to turn this into a competition too. I was sure she would have never even looked twice at Paul if I hadn't tried to talk to him. I suggested it first. No, I did. Thanks. I think I'll be fine by myself. See you later. Both Amber and I failed, but that wasn't the end of it. All day long, my arch nemesis and I kept trying to get him to notice us. However, all he cared about was his laptop. He wouldn't have noticed a herd of elephants passing him by. I decided to change tactics and be smart about it. At lunch, I sneaked a peek at his screen and saw he was playing an online game called The Hero's Way. I should find out more about this. Then I almost got lucky. Almost. After classes, Paul and I left school at the same time and realized it was raining buckets. Damn, my laptop might get wet. I have an umbrella. We could share it. But then Amber ruined everything. She deliberately drove through a puddle and splashed me from head to toe. And then she stopped and offered to give Paul a ride. Thanks, that would be cool. I hate walking in the rain. Kate, I'd give you a ride too, but I don't want my car to get dirty. Bye. I could only growl with indignation. Ugh. At home, my patience kept being tested. I couldn't get into the bathroom because Dan was in there. My aunt had also taken my camera without permission to take pictures. I don't like people touching my stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. It's just that a very beautiful rainbow appeared after the rain, and I wanted to take a photo of it.
I guess I wasn't a great host, but if any of you had a day as bad as mine, you would get it. While I was waiting for the bathroom to be free, I looked at my cousin's computer and realized he'd been playing The Hero's Way, the game that Paul was so obsessed with. It was easy to come up with a plan after that. I gave Dan some of my pocket money, and I asked him to tell me everything about the game. Cast of magicians? Crafting update? This is so complicated. Wait, I'm gonna write it down. All the gaming terminology made me feel like my head was about to burst. But the next day at school, I was ready to show off my knowledge. I sat down next to Paul in the dining room, and I casually looked at his laptop screen. Oh, it's The Hero's Way! I love that game.
Really? Wow. Which characters do you like most?
Me? The Dark Elf Archers.
Wow. I didn't think that pretty girls were interested in video games.
I may have cheated a little, but that was also the first time Paul hadn't looked like an emotionless robot. It seemed like I had finally caught his attention. Also, did he really call me pretty? Wow. And what made me particularly happy was that Amber saw us chatting sweetly. She was furious.
Kate, you're cool. Do you want to play online with me tonight?
It wasn't a date, but it was something. I happily agreed. And only realized what I had done at home. I didn't know how to play at all. What was I supposed to do now?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Do you want to earn more money? I had to resort to asking my cousin for help. Again. I gave Dan all my pocket money so he would play for me. Sat next to him, and I chatted with Paul. When I saw him at school the next day, Paul was beaming with happiness.
Kate, I had a great time yesterday. The last few months have been hard for me, but everything changed thanks to you. You're amazing.
Paul rummaged through his backpack and handed me a leaflet about an esports tournament. I hadn't even known that existed.
This is an old dream of mine. I'm assembling a team. If we win the local tournament, we'll be able to take part in the International Champions League. We're missing one player. Will you join us?
Oh, well, I thought about it. On one hand, it felt great to be invited, but on the other hand, I knew I wouldn't be able to pull it off. I was about to tell Paul that I had deceived him a little bit, but then Amber appeared in the hallway, handing out invitations to her party to everyone.
Paul, you're invited, of course.
But Kate, there's no room left for you. You don't mind, do you?
I'm sorry, Amber, but Kate and I have to get ready for an esports tournament. I won't be able to come. If Kate agrees to become a part of the team, that is.
You should have seen Amber's face! She was so pissed! Paul's words definitely got to her. It seemed like I won that round. I agreed to participate in the tournament.
Hooray! I knew you'd be interested. Keep the leaflet.
I was over the moon when Paul hugged me in front of Amber. But what was I supposed to do now? At home, I showed the leaflet to Dan. I'm finished if he finds out I lied to him.
Well, I'll help you for a modest fee.
At that moment, my parents walked into the room and saw the leaflet I was holding.
Wow, Kate, do you have a new hobby? I'm sure she'll give it up in a week. Actually, Kate's gonna reach the Champions League final. Is that true?
Well...
If you win the tournament, we'll think about withdrawing money from our account and buying you a car.
Really? Yes! You're the best! Nothing could stop me now. I was gonna get the guy of my dreams, show Amber up, and become the happy owner of a brand new car. Hooray! Things were looking up. Paul's team was practicing in the school's computer club. All the computers were separated by partitions.
I'll hide there, and once the game starts, we'll just swap places.
You're a genius, Dan. Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. The next day, I came to the club for the first time, and Paul introduced me to the rest of the team. There were only guys on it. They were very skeptical about me.
A girl? Does she even know how to turn the computer on? Quit it. Kate is a great gamer. You'll see for yourself. Isn't that right?
Sure. Once everyone sat down, Dan came out of hiding and swapped places with me. The practice went without a hitch. The guys from the team were ecstatic.
Wow, Kate, you really are amazing. What did I tell you?
That went on for a while. Dan was playing his favorite game, and I was getting all the glory and hanging out with Paul. We spent a lot of time together. He walked me home and gave me sweets. Amber could only grit her teeth with envy.
Something isn't adding up. I'm gonna get to the bottom of it.
Sure, good luck with that.
Honestly though, how did you manage to get Paul and become a professional gamer?
Can you keep a secret?
Of course I can.
Okay, Dan is actually the one playing instead of me.
Your cousin?
Yeah, well, he had to be good at something. He and his mom are still living at our place and using my stuff.
But you won't be able to deceive everyone that easily at the tournament.
Dan will think of something. After all, that's what I'm paying him for. I was waiting for my cousin after classes as usual when I suddenly saw him talking to Amber. That wasn't good. Dan, come on. The practice is about to start.
Amber told me what you really think of us. You know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Deal with it yourself.
Damn it. Amber must have overheard me talking with Irene. I wanted to run after Dan and explain everything, but then Paul and the rest of the team showed up.
Kate, what are you doing here? We're waiting for you.
Paul, I need to tell you something.
Don't bother. I'll do it. Guys, she was fooling you. Her cousin was the one playing with you. She can't actually play at all.
The boys looked shocked as they stared at me. God, it was so humiliating. I couldn't even say anything in my defense because it was all true. I just turned red and ran away. Then I ran into Irene. She seemed weirdly excited again.
Kate, I remembered where I'd seen Paul. I read an article about him. He used to be a famous esports player until he got kicked off his team.
That was weird. Why hadn't he told me about it? But none of that mattered now. I had let everyone down and disappointed Paul. At home, I accidentally overheard Dan begging his aunt to move out.
Mom, I know we have nowhere to live right now, but I'd rather sleep in a shelter than see any more of Kate's arrogant looks.
I felt so ashamed of myself. Only then did I realize how selfish I'd been. Dan had been accepting my money because they had money issues. I had been treating them terribly. I'm so sorry. Aunt Greta, you can take my camera if you want. I wasn't using it anyway, and your photos looked great. I shouldn't have been so greedy. All that was left to do was figure out how to make it up to Paul. To my surprise, he came to me himself. I found out something interesting.
You ran away before I could say anything. The thing is, let me start at the beginning. I was the captain of an esports team. We dreamed of getting to the Champions League. But one day we got a new member. He wanted to take my place. First, he made it so I was no longer the captain, and then he kicked me out of the team altogether. I was so depressed that I even transferred to a new school.
That's why you were so gloomy and thoughtful.
Yeah, but I didn't give up on my dream, and I put together a new team. Meeting you brought me back to life. But I lied too. After all, I knew that you were deceiving me from the very beginning.
What?
I even saw you peeking into your notebook when you were talking about the Dark Elves, but I played along. I thought that having a girl on the team would make us stand out and help us win. I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth right away.
That surprised me. I didn't even know whether to be angry or not. What had happened to Paul wasn't fair. We were both liars. But I finally figured out what we had to do. Paul, this is my cousin Dan. He's the one who is playing in my place. Please, accept him into the team. It would be way better than trying to win using tricks. It was easy for Dan to become a part of the team. Moreover, he was actually a very talented player. I came to the tournament too, but only as a fan. By the way, there were actually a lot of gamer girls there. The guys easily won, and they could now take part in the Champions League. Hell yeah! Great job, guys!
Kate, thank you for everything. You're our lucky charm.
Soon, Aunt Greta told us that she'd sent her photos to a publishing house, and she'd gotten a job as a photographer there. Then, she and Dan moved out. One day, my parents told me that they were ready to give me a car. A few weeks before that, I would have shouted for joy. But now, I told them not to buy it. I've realized that I've never had to work hard for anything. That's why I didn't appreciate a lot of the things that I got. I really want to earn that car though, so I'm gonna start working in a coffee shop.
We're so proud of you.
What happened taught me to appreciate the things that I had. I'm still friends with the guys from the team. Paul and I are dating. As for my rivalry with Amber, that's in the past. Do you think that we could become friends if we had a real heart-to-heart? Or should I leave well enough alone?